Hey, my name is Samar. I also go by Sam or First Time Panner. Any of those you want to call me, you can. This will be the final installment of my Sephora Collection Precious Gemstones series. The last palette that I will be talking about and doing a 2 looks 1 palette with is the Jade palette. As you can see from my green shirt, I tried to match as much as I could. But yeah, this is the green palette in that like quad of palettes from this collection. I'll be doing swatches of this palette and then also a hopefully different look on each eye using every shade in this palette between the 2 looks. If you want to see I did a swatch video and like unboxing video of all of these palettes, and I did swatches in 3 different types of light. So go check out that video if you want to see that. The links will be in my description box and at the end of this video. And you can also check those links for this same video for the other 3 palettes. But yeah, I'm just gonna get started. By the way, I know my ends are looking atrocious. I'm finally gonna get my hair cut tomorrow for the first time in like 6 months. But yeah, just bear with me for this video. Here are the swatches for this palette. As you can see, there are 4 mattes in this palette, 2 creamy type metallics, and then again, like I said, I consider this one to be more of a topper, which is the first time I've seen that type of formula in any of these Sephora palettes. So if you can see, there's not too much of a base, and it's more kind of like an ethereal wash of color, and it does have a lot of sparkle in it, and it is a dry formula. So with all of those things being said, I consider that to be more of a topper shade rather than like a standard kind of standalone metallic or shimmer. But I just wanted to point that out. It's not that important, but since that's the first time I've ever seen that type of formula in any of these 7-pan Sephora palettes with this layout, I just wanted to mention it in case you're like a 7-pan Sephora palette fanatic like I am. But I am going to get started on the 2 looks. Because there's only one sort of lid setting shade for my skin tone, I'll be using this first matte shade to set both of my eyelids. And I will be using, it's over here, my Milani eyeshadow primer as my primer, and just setting it with this. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to think about the 2 looks that I'll be doing, because as always, I have not planned this out ahead of time. As usual, I'm going to use this fluffy blending brush to set my eyeshadow primer, and I have just decided I'm going to keep my fan on. The last few videos I've forgotten to turn it off, but I'm just going to like turn the volume very low when I speed everything up so the fan's not too loud in the background, but it's just too hot to be turning it off. That's what this first shadow looks like on my eyelids, and for this first look I'm going to do a gold green type of look, and I'm going to take these 3 shades to do that. So first I'm going to start with this shade and kind of just put it all over the like outer half of my eye, and to do that I'm using this more dense blending brush. Here's that shade blended out in the areas that I want it. I will just say I was eventually able to get this blended out and diffused the exact way I wanted it, without having to use that like cream shade to help. But the shade that I use, it did take a lot more effort to blend it out than any of the shades I've used in the other palettes. So I was able to get it blended, but it did take a little bit of effort. Just wanted to point that out. I have no problem with taking the extra step of blending, but if you're someone who wants something very effortless, that is something to note. Now I'm going to start going in with the non-matte shades. So first I'm going to put this NYX glitter primer all over my eyes where I do not have that green matte, and I always use a glitter primer every time I do my makeup unless I'm doing an all matte look. So this has nothing to do with these shades not adhering. I've never used these before. This is just something I do every time. I'm going to take this green metallic here, and as you can see on the screen, it looks kind of gold, but then when I hold it in different angles, it looks more green. Depending on how much light is hitting it, that's when the gold glitter throughout, like evenly dispersed throughout this metallic, starts to show up. So it just needs the light to bounce off of it. I'll give you a little swatch on my hand just so you can see it that way too. Just like when the light is hitting it, you can see all of that gold glitter, and when it's not, it goes back to like a deeper green. So I'm just going to put that all over my lid. That is so pretty. That's like my shade. That is the definition of the type of metallic that I love. I feel like this shade in particular could rival that green metallic from my Mary Jane palette, which is one of my favorite shades in my collection, but that's just personal preference. That has nothing to do with this review. Now, without any more glitter primer, I'm going to take that gold topper shade, and I'm just going to start by placing it on like the first third of my eye, but depending on what it looks like, maybe I'll take it all the way. I think I'm just going to keep it in the very first third of my eye. It honestly doesn't have too much of a contrast from the green metallic that I put on, and I just built it up a tiny bit more, but honestly, because the gold is hitting the light so much, everything kind of just looks like a gold wash of color, and it's just slightly lighter in the area that I put that topper shade. I'm going to use a brush to apply some glitter primer on my lower lash line, and then I'm going to kind of like mirror the placement of each of those shades, and then I'll come back. I also decided to put that topper shade on my inner corner just to see what it looks like. It's really pretty, but again, because it's a topper shade, it doesn't have much of a base color, so it's not like a punchy inner corner. It's just like a little wash of shimmer. And really quickly, I'm going to build up my outer corner with that first matte that I used, and then I'm going to apply some eyeliner and mascara and then come right back. I just dug my nail into one of the shades. Okay, anyway, here's that finished look on this bright eye. Personally, and I'm definitely biased because like I said, these are my colors. These are the colors I love to wear all the time. I love this look. Like I said, that matte took a bit extra time just to blend it out, but it still was able to blend. I didn't have to use any extra shades to blend it out. So again, really good quality with these shades, especially for a colorful matte. And yeah, the colors look so beautiful on my eye. As long as, I mean, I didn't test it out without the glitter primer, but because I never forego a glitter primer, incredibly, like, for such an affordable palette, such a punchy, impactful metallic, I will say putting the topper on my eye didn't really do that much for this look, because the shade of the topper and the shade of the glitter and that green metallic, when it hits the light, almost the same, just slightly lighter. So those two probably you don't really need to pair in a look. I might try it on top of the other metallic for this other eye, just depending on how that comes out. But I would say because of that, potentially they could have used a different topper shade in this palette. Not that I'm trying to be super nitpicky, but I just want to give you like all of my thoughts so you can make the perfect decision for yourself if you were considering buying this palette. But now I'm going to move on to the other eye. Again, I've already said it, and I'm going to use the other three shades that I have not yet used in this palette. So I'm going to use this deeper matte green, this kind of like light medium tan matte, and then this cool tone green metallic, which I'm kind of excited for in the spring. I was really loving shades like this, cool tone greens, like pastel type colors. I'm just gonna get on with the look so I don't keep rambling. With this same dense blending brush, I'm gonna take this matte and put it all over the outer corner, pretty much in the exact same place I put this matte, but I'm not going to blend it out as far because I'm going to be using this shade for that purpose. Now I'm going to take this fluffier blending brush and take this shade and kind of use this on the edges of everywhere I put that color, and then this inner part of my eye. I'm gonna go back in with this more dense brush, nothing else on it, just to help blend these two colors together. I do want to point out it is a little sloppy, or very sloppy, on this outer corner. That was totally my fault. I just went overboard because, again, just like the last palette, the Pyrite palette that I reviewed, I didn't think this shade in particular was going to be as pigmented as it is, but it was full impact on the very first swipe. So that was totally my fault. If it looks sloppy out here, that's user error and not anything to do with the quality of the palette. Before I go in with that last metallic, again, I'm going to use my NYX glitter primer. Again, I'm going in with this cool tone metallic right here. That is actually a lot brighter than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a pastel, like light sage type green. It actually looks more of like a grass green, like a cool tone grass green, if that makes any sense. It's just like a bit brighter and less kind of pastel than I thought it was going to be. I think it's really pretty. I really like it. Using this kind of like pinched packing brush, which I swear is wiped off, it's just stained. I'm going to use that to put some of that metallic on my lower lash line. I'm not going to use a glitter primer just because these creamier metallics tend to be able to stick a lot better. And I think I'm going to use that topper shade as my inner corner again, and then again kind of bring it in just a tiny bit, just to see what it looks like overlapping with this metallic. I am very happy with how that turned out. I think overlapping those shades gives a really pretty effect, and because that shade does not have any gold in it, the topper does add something special to it. And I packed this on the topper shade a little bit more, just so it could give a little more impact as the inner corner. And I think it works great as an inner corner highlight. The last palette, the Pyrite palette, did not have an inner corner highlight shade or any light metallic or a shimmer sort of shade. So I'm glad that this palette at least has something that at least someone of my skin tone could use for the inner corner. If you're lighter than me, this might not work for that purpose, but I'm going to put on some eyeliner and mascara and then come back with my final thoughts. Okay, as always, I'm having technical difficulties and I ran out of storage, so I had to change all my settings, and now I cannot get my phone back into my phone stand for filming. So we're gonna finish the video like this. What a great way to end the series. Yeah, I really like these looks, and this time I'll remember to post the after pictures. All in all, I want to say that I definitely do recommend this palette, just like I recommend all 4 palettes, but for different reasons. So make sure you watch the specific videos on the palettes that you're specifically interested in. I would recommend this palette to anyone who's really into green eyeshadow, which is me. This would make a really great travel palette if you are super into greens and you want like a green travel palette. Otherwise, I wouldn't say this has like all the greens. This definitely does not cover your bases, so if you're looking for like an all-inclusive green palette, probably not the one for you. But I highly recommend this palette for the quality, for the shades. The only cons is that one topper shade, it does have a tiny bit of fallout, I have noticed, under my eyes, not too much, and that's to be expected with a dry topper shade like that. But it also is like incompatible with that deeper green metallic, just because it already has almost the same shade of gold in it. Otherwise, I think it's beautiful as a topper for the other metallic, or just a topper on top of mattes, and as an inner corner it's very beautiful, as you can see. So just in general, I recommend this palette for anyone who's interested. Again, make sure to get this during the Sephora sale if you were interested in it, which is happening in just about a week or two. But I'm gonna end this video here so it doesn't stop recording on me again. Thank you so much for watching. Again, check out the links that I'll have in my description and at the end of the video, and I'll just have to see you in my next video. I hope you have a great day. Bye.